I cannot even begin to describe the sheer... This thing terrifies me. We're stopped here. Raw power, man! It's so fast. You need such a massive stretch of track. Gosh. Just like that, 0 to 60. Doesn't take much. Ah, man. This car is nuts. Absolutely nuts. It is so unnecessary, Dodge. Well done. Now, if you have ever driven a wide-bodied Challenger, you know that these things drive like a boat. And the Demon 170 is no exception. This is just a 1,000 horsepower boat that would love to wrap itself around a tree. But the ride is very smooth. It's not extremely tight on the steering. Again, it's made for going straight. The wheels on here are very soft and it's not too loud in the road noise, but being drag radials, they don't have the same tolerancing and performance as a thin-walled street tire. If you had the funds, you could absolutely daily this as long as you avoid any rain and cold weather. But you got the passenger seat here, the bench in the back, so you could easily throw your kids' car seats back there. It does have the mounting points, and then you can drive a Demon 170 to school every day. Now, obviously today we are not on a prep surface. It is a little chilly out. It's like right at 71, so tires are still a little bit slick. But the official published times for the Demon 170 is 0 to 60 in 1.66 seconds. That is outrageously fast. Now, you got to take that with a grain of salt, with a big asterisk of in perfect conditions, after warming the engine up, doing all of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just perfectly, and getting a good hookup and launch. With this much power, it's not even palatable on, oh my gosh, if you're not braced, it'll snap your neck time after time, and gosh, dang, that is mean. To be able to even getting close to getting the times that this car can do with the amount of power it's got means getting that power to the wheels. After they added the Hellcat Super and did all the engine overhaul, the rest of the entire driveline had to be reinforced. Now, we're still running a similar 8-speed automatic to what's in the Demon, but they went through and pretty much took every single weak link, your bearing, your shaft, your driveline, anything that would cause a part of the system to fail with that much load on it, with that 1,000 horsepower. They went through, reinforced, redesigned, and then strengthened to be a much more robust system to be able to achieve those times without just blowing itself apart every single run. Now, with the OG Demon, one of the tasks was being able to make the car do a wheelie. This car can do the wheelie, but their target this time was to be below the 9-second marker on a quarter mile. In the past, the first Demon was banned from the NHRA because it was below 10 seconds and did not have a roll cage installed. They lowered that bar and said, okay, if you're under 10 seconds, you're okay, just don't go under 9 seconds. 9 seconds, you have to have a roll cage and a parachute. The Demon 170's goal again was to be banned, so they were targeting a sub 9-second quarter mile, which they officially got in at 8.91 seconds. Again, asterisk, it's not easy to do, but this car from production, as is capable of hitting that with the right skill and driver behind the wheel. Obviously at the moment that's not me, but man, I can appreciate how much power. You're gonna have a lot of the Demon 170 owners being like, oh, I've got the fastest car. If you go to an actual drag race for the first time without having a lot of the experience behind the wheel on this, you will be beat. The best part about this car is not the body, the styling. They kind of just went with the standard Challenger, but the additional tech they're adding in for the drag specific, and then how much calibrating and how much really finagling to get all these systems to work together. It's just such an incredible amount of engineering, and I really enjoy that. So first, with the outrageous 900 horsepower, if you're running just premium fuel, when you put your E85 in, they will completely mix. Up here on the dash, you got a little fuel pump stand with a piece of corn in it, and then above it, it says E-9. That is a live reading of how much alcohol it's detecting in your injectors right before it feeds it in. So as you put in more E85, it's gonna increase that E value until you get a certain percentage of alcohol. Like E85 is not standard 85% alcohol. They vary it throughout the year based on how much performance is needed for the climate. So it's live detecting. It says, hey, I'm only giving you 900 horsepower because I'm detecting ethanol, but it is not the 55 or 60% required to get your full 1,025 horsepower. So it's really impressive that it's doing that on-the-fly detection and then setting your engine map based off of that live value, just to make sure you're not getting engine knock or putting extra pressure on your head when it shouldn't be. Now the Demon 170 has an 18.5 gallon tank that you can put your E85 or your premium in. For fuel efficiency, that's not something you should be asking when you have 1,025 horsepower. Now it does have an eco mode that you can put it into. On the original Demon, that would drop it down from your 808 or 840 horsepower down to 500. I'm assuming this will do the similar, but I haven't seen what it actually drops it to. It just turns everything green to eco. We're looking at right now is the average of 9.7. Now what amazes me most on this car versus the OG Demon, these tires, the whatever is happening, oh my gosh, it sticks. Like the other one would start squealing and burning out just for fun, but this is not made to do that. It grips and launches, and it pulls through. That is just shocking. Going through the interior, there is very little noticeable difference between the other Demon and this one. You do have the nice carbon fiber paneling here. On this main dash cluster, you don't have the same high octane fuel gas button since this one's running the ethanol. There's a few design differences throughout. Wherever you see the Demon, it'll have a little bit more yellow to signify that ethanol. Now on the key, the only thing that sets it apart, so we've got the yellow Demon word with the red M in the middle there on this. Rest of the system, gauges, G-force meter, engine output, kind of all your data similar in this system there. And the wild thing about it, just the Challengers, like I said, it's a boat. It's very flowy, very soft. Get the ventilated seats. This thing is highly comfortable, cushy. Like I could spend a lot of time in here as a road trip. Ultimate sleeper, even though it's by no means hidden. But gosh. The blinker, it's obnoxious. I think it's standard across all Challengers, but it is so loud. So, not a fan of that. Now, one item I'm super picky about, but I really appreciate is comfortable arm pads. I got some very bony elbows, so this is nice to actually just have your arm rest. Very plush. Now, at this point, you can't order a Demon anymore. They've already all been made, but if you did, and when you did get a slot, they had just your standard packages you could pick through. Interior, you had the base cloth, you had Alcantara, and then you had a black, and then this is the red leather. Couple other features. The key one was the carbon fiber $12,000 rims, and that was putting a carbon fiber ring on the outside, reducing the weight, allowing you to spool up a little bit faster. And then a couple small features like adding in GPS or the red seat belts. The other thing they did add that was a $10,000 upgrade was the sunroof. Now the sunroof is a common accessory on all the rest of your Challengers, so there's nothing special there. But Dodge really did not want you putting a sunroof on this car, as you're putting so much mass above the center of gravity. You're really killing what the point of this car was. And so with that, they just made it $10K to try and deter people from doing it. But the additional they made on anybody who did buy a sunroof, they put towards the carbon fiber rims, which cost them more than what they were selling them for. So it kind of helped offset that cost just a little bit. It also came with the seat and the bench. Didn't have that $1 deal on the original Demon, but you could have them remove it for free. If you did that though, they would not enable the passenger airbags. So the seats were not something you really wanted to build without. Just remove it yourself if you're planning on needing that extra weight reduction. Another part of this car that differed from the OG Demon was there was no Demon crate. That came with all the extra aftermarket accessories they couldn't put on a stock vehicle. This one did not require any of those extras, but what you could get was a custom engraved decanter set and little glasses that had your serial number along with your name and everything on the back. You had to order that afterwards after you proved you had, in fact, a Demon. Now, something else I really appreciate about the Demon, the performance pages. There is so much data being pushed through here that to most people, it's useless. You've got so many different parts that you can see. Now, over here, we've got just your home screen where you can pick. We've got timers on what your fastest 0 to 60 is, reaction time, things like that. We've got a whole bunch of gauges, temps on everything, oil pressure, battery voltage, G-force meter. All these things you can do a little screenshot of. We've got live data here with your super boost data, torque output, horsepower, and then also it's kind of cool, just a live dyno. So as you can see here on the bottom, showing what gear you're in based off your RPM over that time, and then the torque and power being output at that specifically. So we've got 3 main data pages here. When you click the SRT mode, it pops up this quick dashboard. We can jump through some of your settings, launch control, things like that. We've got our performance page, which is where we're just showing you all of the data coming through. And then our third page is our SRT mode. And that's where you jump through your valet mode, eco mode, and then on your custom, you can go through specific options and pick how you want different performance to behave. So how aggressive of shifting do you want? Suspension, do you want it really stiff in the rear? Traction control, paddle shifting on and off, steering, transmission, all of that is quick adjustable. For now, I'll just leave it in auto. Like Tim Kuniskis said in one of his videos, they've sold, I think, over 2 million Challengers, and with the Demon 170s being only in a batch of 3,300, this is a very focused version of the Challenger, and is not made for everybody to have one. It's really the pinnacle of what can be accomplished when they put all of the funds and money and effort into making the track and drag focused car. The really sad part about that, with the Demon not being here for the masses, they have become extremely exclusive and very hard to get a hold of without just shelling out a ton of money on them. And the value of the car is not what the $100, $200, $300, even up to $400,000 people are asking for these. It's not a supercar. It's not an insane spaceship. It is a drag muscle car in a Challenger package. So you got the same quality as your standard Challengers that are coming in at 40, 50, 60,000. There is nothing exceptionally exclusive here, except for all these engineering specific features that they put into the drivetrain, which is incredible, but just sad that it's going for outrageous money. With that being said, if you're going just for the namesake and trying to buy the absolute fastest car and you're debating between a Tesla Plaid and one of these, get the Tesla Plaid. Don't take this option away from people who absolutely love and appreciate learning to drive and maneuver and set with the computer here, just getting those insanely fast track times. There are not a lot of cars that I would consider myself afraid to drive, but this is one of them. I don't feel comfortable behind the wheel with the amount of power. Like, yeah, you keep it in eco and no issues, but once you actually step on it and the back end, wow, 100%, you do not need this kind of power off of a track. It works on the road, but man, it is too much for the road. You're at the speed limit instantly. Now there's gonna be a bunch of people being like, oh, the Demon, my dream car, I'll get it someday, but it's like, other than the power, I don't think it should be. This thing it's pretty heart racing actually. I'm like, oh my gosh, to where enjoyable. No, it's not enjoyable, it's terrifying, but it is wicked fun. Golly. This is eco mode. Golly. Jeez. It's just not an ideal or safe car for your daily driving experience, but definitely something that is just a beautiful work of art and some incredible engineering into it all. So I really hope most of these do get into the hands of those who are actually going to appreciate and use and push this thing to its actual extent on a track. That's what this is made for. So let's see them out there. Let's get the reps, let's see the speed, and just let these things rip. But for the rest of people, I would just recommend getting a Hellcat.